Now, the reason why I introduced the idea of Greeks here is because I want to use delta as the bridge to intrinsic and extrinsic value. We're going to talk about delta and give you the technical definition first, and then I'm going to drive home the point of that hard delta, soft delta kind of balance and how it relates to the concepts we're going to talk about today. Delta, technically, is an option's values sensitivity to stock price. It's how much this option should theoretically move in price terms. The expected change in an option's price, either up or down, for that $1 move in an underlying security price. Lots of people think about it as kind of like the probability of the option finishing in the money. Some people think about it that way. Some people think about it as just if you're looking at an option and it has, let's say, a 50 delta, you can think about that option as moving 50% of that $1 move in the stock. And so any $1 move in a stock would actually generate a 50-cent move in a 50 delta option. But I want you to subset delta, as far as options are concerned, into three big buckets. The first one is the deep in the money options, high delta options approaching the upper boundary of 100. Any one option can only get to the upper boundary of 100 delta. Why? Because if you think about delta as the percentage of the underlying move that the option's price should move, you're never going to find one option that's going to move more than 100% of that $1 move in the underlying. And so the upper boundary of high delta options is 100. The second bucket is the at the money options. Those options have around a 50 delta, not exactly a 50 delta necessarily. Some of them actually do, but if you're talking about options that are close to the at the money, they're going to have some close to 50 delta kind of vibe. That means that it's going to move 50%, right, of that $1 move in the underlying. And the third bucket are the far out of the money options that are close to or approaching the lower boundary of delta, which is 0. Options that are super far out of the money that have almost nothing to do with the pricing regime of what's happening around the at the money options are going to have something close to a 0 delta. That does not mean that those options are completely irrelevant. It means that with things priced the way that they are, the likelihood of those options coming into play between now and the time that they expire is relatively low, as defined by the implied volatility, the time to expiration, the kurtosis, the skew, all of those things. And so the lower boundary of options as far as delta is concerned is 0. The higher boundary, the upper boundary, is 100 as far as the options are concerned. When you think about delta, like I said, I want you to think about it like the speedometer of your options position. Just like a car speedometer tells you how fast you're going, delta can tell you how fast or how much the option should change in price terms for every 1 point move in the underlying. So now that we have an idea of delta, let's think about it as it pertains to extrinsic and intrinsic value. Hard and soft delta are concepts that not necessarily everyone talks about. Hard delta is what I call the delta that you get when you're talking about an option that correlates significantly with underlying price movement. As you get into an option that has more of its value concentrated in its intrinsic portion of value, you start to get something that moves and acts more like the underlying, like the stock, than it does like any kind of other optionality. The important part about this is that as expiration comes closer, as we get closer to expiration and you start to remove time from these options, in the money options tend to become more in the money, and out of the money options tend to become more out of the money, meaning those in the money deltas, 80, 90, 92, 95, start to get higher, closer to 100 as time comes out of the options.